the Y at a women's wellness event, and she was displaying doTERRA, which are essential oils. So I used to sell a line of essential oils myself. So in naturopathic medical school, we learn a lot about herbs and how to use different herbs. And one of the ways in which you use oils is in tinctures or in oils, right? So there's many uses for oils. And in my practice, I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I will sell the oils and we will do all this stuff. Well, that company folded, but I never stopped using oils. And oftentimes I will prescribe oils, or I will tell patients to get X, Y, and Z for X, Y, and Z ailment. So it works, and it's aligned with my values and the way in which I practice naturopathic medicine, especially for oncology purposes, but not exclusive to oncology. So everybody can use them, and they have multiple different uses. And so in talking to Julie, and Julie brought Lisa on, well, Lisa is the upline, but what I'm saying is Julie introduced me to Lisa. In my conversation with them, because I'm not, let's say, the expert in oils, I know herbs, right? But this is what they do on a daily basis, is they are educating people on oils, and they know this product line. So I have many friends that actually use the doTERRA line, or actually are wellness advocates for doTERRA. It is a quality brand, so that's number one when it comes to oils. Is you can get the cheap oils from CVS, not really sure they're going to work, and they could be harmful. So that's really key for me, is most oils that are any kind of good or going to do any kind of medicinal work are not going to be cheap. It is what it is, right? You pay for what you get. So there are many different lines of oils, but doTERRA is one of those that I have vetted, and I believe to be quality oils that are going to be medicinal, and that is what I'm trying to give you guys. So in talking to Lisa and Julie, I wanted to have a conversation about the vial approach, which you may or may not have remembered me talking about it, but for my patients, we talk about it a lot. So it's an acronym, VITAL. So V is for valuable sleep, I is for individualized diet, T is for thorough hydration, A is for active mental health, and L is for lymphatic flow. So in talking to Julie and to Lisa, I said I would like to do a series where we talk about the oils and every single aspect of that, right? So we can do sleep in many different aspects, but how do we use oils to help us get into that valuable medicinal sleep, right? Because remember, I think that sleep is medicine. It's free, it's underrated. And so how do we get that deep level of sleep that is medicinal, that's making us have a balanced system, right? So the 5-part series starts today. Yes, I don't have the other dates for the other ones, but I will get them to you when I talk to Julie and Lisa. I just wanted to get this one on the books because I have some travel. So I wanted to get this one started immediately because I want it to be here the first time that they present. And then if I can't be here the other times, at least you guys have been introduced to them, okay? With that, I'd like to introduce Julie, and then Julie, you can introduce Lisa.
Okay, yes, thank you so much for being on here. We absolutely appreciate you taking the time, like Dr. Sam said. We know that everybody's busy, and it's very valuable that you're committing yourself to this next 45 minutes or so just to learn about sleep, because that's something that everybody needs and everybody can benefit from. So tonight, like Dr. Sam said, I'm Julie Lisa, and I am a stay-at-home homeschool mom who is passionate about holistic health and natural solutions. And that really started probably about 15 years ago now. I had a twin brother who was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 5. And for about 20 years or so, he sought, modern medicine, chemo, radiation, things like that. And we really found that it helped him to survive. It didn't help him to thrive. And so when he was 25, he chose to switch to alternative natural solutions and saw more success those last 5 years of his life than he saw those 20 years previous. Unfortunately, his heart was affected by different treatments, and so he did pass. But those last 5 years of his life really showed my family that alternative solutions and natural solutions are real things that can be helpful and are options for people. And since then, I've been extremely passionate just sharing with people about how they can live a healthier lifestyle. And so about 1.5 to 2 years ago, I partnered with Lisa to teach people about essential oils and natural solutions so that people can be preventative and proactive. And then if disease or sickness does come on, there are alternatives that you can use to treat those things under a doctor's care, of course. So we are so excited to be here tonight. I have 3 kids. I've been married for about 25 years almost, which is a big deal. And Lisa and I love talking with people and helping people with their health struggles and really get on track with a healthier lifestyle. So with that, I'll let Lisa introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for being on tonight. Sleep is one of my favorite topics too, Dr. Sam. And it's such an important part. And I was saying, as you know, women a lot of times we're wearing so many hats and we don't get that time where, oh, we're going to do another thing. We're going to do another thing, right? And we don't make sleep important. It's so important for our bodies and our immune systems. And so I'm so excited about this presentation. It's going to teach you a lot of great information, just some extra tools to help you get better night's sleep, stay asleep. Pamela, I know you said you have trouble, staying asleep. So we'll hopefully address all of your questions, and you can, at the very end, we can always answer some more. You can put them in the chat. I am a mom too of 2 girls, a freshman and a junior in high school. I live in Plymouth, Michigan with my husband and my snoring dog on the floor, so you might hear her as well. She actually has cancer, and so I've been able to use natural solutions to help her, and they only gave her a couple months to live, and she's already lived a year longer through using homeopathics and essential oils and homemade food diet. So I really believe in natural solutions for helping even my dog, right? So I'm a teacher. That's my background. I have my master's in education, and so I'm a reading specialist, and also just help people with natural solutions for health. I've been with doTERRA for over 13 years. I've traveled all over the world with them. I've been to Nepal, I've been to Bulgaria, I've been to Hawaii, where we see the sourcing of the actual essential oils that we're going to talk to you about. But also the really cool thing about doTERRA is where the sources of oils from, we help the community. So we provide jobs. In Nepal, we built a hospital. We have fair growing of all of the things, the trees, and so we environmentally do things really well. And so it's a really great thing about doTERRA that not always everybody knows about, but when you're using the essential oils, it's there's a story behind every single bottle. So I think that's really a really cool thing of the company. So we're excited to share with you tonight, and we just want to do our best to help you and learn another tool to help you on your wellness journey.
Awesome. Okay, if I could go ahead and share my screen, does it work for you? Okay, so let's do this. Let's see. All right. Get it up here. Okay. And I should be able to do it in slideshow. Okay, here we go. Can you guys see it? Okay,
yep.
Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about sleep, right? So we're going to cover sleep toolkit strategies for optimal bedtime routine, and really that incorporates restful sleep as well as stress to create a bedtime routine. And like Dr. Sam said, I also was a girl who could sleep anywhere. I could sleep on an airplane. I could sleep in the car. I could sleep on the couch with a football game on. Really anywhere. And I used to be a great sleeper. But then a few years ago, I started to have some hormone things going on, and it really began to affect my sleep. And it was at that time that I realized, how important sleep is, and how important it is not only to your mood, but also to your physical well-being and your overall health. There's different times and different seasons and different chapters in our life where we may be busy with kids, we may be moving a lot. Those can really add extra stressors. Or now, with perimenopause, maybe some of us are in that stage. I know I am. I've had to deal with some sleep disturbances and disruptions. And also the fact that I mentioned I have 3 children. I have a 21-year-old, 18-year-old, and 16-year-old. And so even though they're old, still, out late, driving cars. So there's just these different stressors that can really affect your sleep. And I mentioned my husband and I have been married for 25 years. And thankfully, our kids have always been good sleepers. So I feel like that's been a blessing. But you just realize that there's different seasons in life where sleep can be interrupted, whether you have a new baby, a puppy, things like that. So tonight we're really going to be talking about sleep, the stages of sleep, um, and the absolute most important things in life that you need to address when it comes to sleep. So our goal tonight is to talk about how to create a restful environment, how to have stress relief and really set up your day, actually starting with the morning, have a good night's sleep that night, because that really matters as well. So if we look at this, right, we all negotiate with time. Um, so this is something that obviously started young in life, right? When you can always find one more thing to do, like Lisa said. The kids are outside, they want to play one more game, or I want to finish researching a topic, or I just want to binge watch the last season of my favorite show. There's always something else to do, right? And maybe it's just that you want to spend time with a loved one you haven't seen for a long time. All of those things are sacrifices and can take up time that we maybe should be sleeping instead. So we really started this from a young age. I remember, like I said, my mom, when we were younger, we'd be out playing and the sun is starting to set and you hear her calling down the street, "Hey kids, come in." And you're like, "Come on, we want one more minute," or "I didn't get to be it," right? And so there's just different things that are really pulling at us for our time. And so we really need to realize that time is a negotiation. We can either do that one more thing or we can go to bed on time. And the choice that you make really is going to make a difference. The great news is that we do have options, right? We can choose to not continue watching that, or we can choose to turn the lights out and go to sleep. And so I was really aware of that. Once it was a punishment if your mom said go to your room, right? And we'd huff and puff and we'd get upset. But now really we consider it maybe a luxury or a pleasure to be able to go into our room, close the door, and lay down, go to sleep early or take a nap. And so restorative sleep really is what we're looking for. It really is a superpower. And I want us to look at it that way, restorative sleep, not just catnapping or sleeping for 2 hours and then waking up. So let's look at the next one. Okay, so leveraging, we're really leveraging time, right? As a true superpower leveraging single behaviors that create multiple positive outcomes. So doing that just one more thing compared to going to sleep. When you look at going to do that one more thing, whether it feels positive, it feels like something good, like we're throwing in the last load of laundry, or we're folding that basket of laundry, or texting one more thing to a friend, or doing that little bit of research that we want to finish up, meal planning for the week. When I'm going to make, when I'm going to leverage time, you really need to consider, is it more important for me to go to bed, or is it more important for me to do that one more thing? That's really what we have to do. So it really should be a consideration. Going to bed is really an amazing thing when you put those two things together, the one more thing or going to bed. Because the awesome thing about sleep is that it's free, right? We don't have to pay for it, and the rewards come really quickly. So I just wanted to read this quote. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Casey Means. She's a doctor, and she wrote this book called Good Energy. And it's not just about sleep. It's about really how to set your body up for good energy, for repair, cellular repair.
Sorry, Julie, I think you need to change your slide.
Okay. But thank you. She did talk about sleep in a chapter, and this is a quote from her book. "Sleep isn't a luxury. It's a biological necessity that directly impacts your mood, focus, and judgment. Even a single night of poor sleep can impair your decision making more than you might realize. And so this quote really shows you the importance of sleep. So Dr. Casey, she was a top surgeon at Stanford in 2014, and she actually dropped out of a huge fellowship that she was in because she was realizing that she was seeing the same people in her operating room over and over again. And so she really had to consider, why are these people coming back to me? And what she realized is that these doctors that she was working with really weren't getting to the root causes of problems. Rather, they were putting Band-Aids on, they were treating with prescriptions, they were just telling people to, change this or that, but they weren't really dealing with the root cause. So she actually retired from that position and became a functional medicine doctor. And this quote really highlights the extreme importance of sleep.
And if I can just interrupt, Julie.
Yeah.
So, Coach Jason, for those of you guys who are patients, on the second Tuesday of each month, he references this book a lot, and he also tends to, and I think he went through a whole series kind of outlining this book. So it's interesting that Julie is bringing up the book because done a whole series on this. You're actually coming to the group sessions. Coach Jason on the second Tuesdays loves that book.
Yes, it's a great book. I recommend it for sure, even if it's something where you just pick up and read every now and then, but it really is a good resource. Okay, so the next question is, why do we need sleep, right? And here's a great book, another book, if you want to learn a little bit more about truly why we need sleep. It's by Matthew Walker, PhD. It's entitled, Why Do We Need Sleep? So we need sleep because it really restores and repairs our bodies, not only our bones and ligaments. It repairs and restores our brain function, but it's really giving us an opportunity to restore and repair everything in our body. It helps with cognitive function. It helps with physical health. It helps with things like weight loss or weight gain. It helps with mental health and energy, productivity, emotional well-being. You can really see that sleep is not just so we can get up and go to work the next day. Sleep is actually a really important restorative thing that our body has to have so that we can get up and function and be healthy overall. And so really our individual, it's really, when we don't get good sleep, it puts a lot of strain on your body, whether it's brain function, fogginess, not thinking clearly, whether it's our mood and we get short or get angry in the day because we haven't had a good night's sleep. So really the daily demands of our body throughout the day requires that we take time off by sleeping and letting our body restore and repair. So all those things really have to do with sleep. And honestly, I don't think that the research is really done on all of the things that sleep really helps with. What I mean is I just don't think that there's so many things that we can connect yet with how important sleep is to our bodies, and getting a good night's sleep is important. So really getting a good night's sleep is one of the smartest things you can do for yourself. Whether you're healthy or you're dealing with disease, sleep is one of the most important things you can do to start with, right? So what happens when we're sleep deprived? This is really interesting. I want to tell you kind of on the opposite end, what happens when research has shown what happens when you get like 6 hours of sleep, that's actually considered being sleep deprived, which I think last night I was sleep deprived because I had to get up at 5 o'clock this morning. So at that point, 1/3 of the country is sleep deprived, if you consider that statistic. And sadly, once we start becoming sleep deprived, that's when we also become insulin sensitive or insulin insufficient when we receive less than 6 hours of sleep. And by the way, I didn't include here, but in research, this topic keeps coming up in my mind, and different things that I wanted to add, but even the difference between women and men. So some research models show that women actually need at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and anything less than 8 to 9 hours, our bodies start to become insulin resistant. And the reason why that's so serious is because that can then cause issues with hormones, and that can cause issues with metabolic issues. So they found that men in particular need to get at least 6 hours. So you see, ladies, we do need more sleep. Our bodies just demand it. So it's really important for all of these things like the inflammatory response. When you get a good night's sleep, your inflammatory response is heightened. When it's lowered, it means it's going to be responding in an inflammatory way, and that's where you get the chronic inflammation in your joints or in your muscles. Testosterone growth, they actually found that when men get sleep deprived, their testosterone goes down. And this really plays a role in young men that are still developing. And so if you have, a son that's staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning playing video games, and then he has to be up at 7 in the morning to go to school, that's having an impact on him in a very, very negative way. And so it's, again, important to make sure that we are prioritizing sleep whenever we are thinking about our day.
Can I cut in for a second?
Absolutely.
So for the insulin, if you could just go back, I'm going to touch on each of those points.
Yeah.
For the insulin sensitivity, specifically, this is really important because sleep affects 3 different hormones, the insulin, the ghrelin, and the leptin. So the ghrelin and the leptin are the ones that we talk about that control your satiety, your feelings of fullness, right? So research has shown that the more you sleep, the more weight you lose. So if you're sleep deprived, you're actually gaining weight, okay? So the hormones and the way in which the insulin, the ghrelin, and the leptin work, the more you sleep, or the better your restorative sleep, the more you can lose weight. If you're not doing it the proper way, you are locking in your inability to lose weight if that's what you're trying to do, okay? For testosterone, specifically, like Julie was talking about, research has shown that if men sleep 6 hours or less, it is equivalent, their testosterone levels are equivalent to someone 10 years their senior. So this is really important for people who are in those reproductive stages because we see a lot of male factor infertility right now. So it's not, you see everybody going to fertility clinics and stuff like that, and they always think it's the woman, but there is something called male factor infertility, and testosterone plays a big role in that. Testosterone plays a big role in female health as well, especially when you're in the perimenopause and the menopause era of your life. That testosterone is helping to keep the irritability down. Testosterone also helps to maintain weight. It helps with your temperature control as well. So I already talked about the weight gain. The cognitive function, this is really important. So the only time that we know that beta amyloid plaques are removed from our system, and beta amyloid plaques are the same plaques that when someone passes away that has Alzheimer's, they cut the brain open and they look at the brain and they see beta amyloid plaques, right? So we know that these are the cause of Alzheimer's. So the more you have, the closer you are to actual Alzheimer's, but we know that dementia, right, precedes Alzheimer's. And we also know that we call Alzheimer's now type 3 diabetes, right? So when I'm talking about the insulin, the leptin, the ghrelin, and the blood sugar control, we know that it also affects your cognitive function. So when you're in the restorative phase, and only in the restorative phase of sleep, so you can sleep, but if it's not restorative, basically these little dump trucks come by and they move out the beta amyloid plaques. So if you're having multiple nights of non-restorative sleep, those beta amyloid plaques build up, and then you get that fuzzy feeling like, where are my keys? That kind of stuff, right? So the more you can sleep, the clearer your mind is and the more focused that you are. This is really important when it comes to oncology because we already know that it really is something called chemo brain, right? So this can last way past the time of your chemo treatment. So it's really important to get to that restorative function. So as far as cardiovascular health, we look at our phone, and if our phone is on half charge, we're like, oh my gosh, where's the charger? Where's the charger? I wish we would think of our bodies the same way that we think of our phones, right? So we plug our phones in, we charge it up. Our body is the same way. When you're sleeping, when your head hits the pillow or wherever you're laying down, you are plugging your body in. It is the time when your body resets. It heals all the micro tears that happen during the day, those type of things. It also, we know that even losing an hour of sleep affects our cardiovascular function. When you sleep, your heart rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down. It's an automatic happening. So when we lose an hour of sleep, that's the daylight savings time, there is a 24% increased risk of heart attacks the very next day. Very next day. That's just from me losing 1 hour of sleep. So, carry on, Julie.
That's a big deal. That really gives you something to think about. So I'm glad that we're going to be able to offer you guys some solutions that will hopefully solve some of those problems.
One more thing that's not on the list is immune function. So specifically with oncology, you said going to bed, right? So specifically with oncology, what we don't talk about is the fact that sleep actually helps to help with natural killer cells. The natural killer cells are your immune function that goes and gobbles up the cancer cells, right? So we know that the World Health Organization classifies any third shift work. So I'm talking about graveyard shifts. Those are the shifts where you're working at nighttime as a probable carcinogen. And what I mean by a probable carcinogen is that they know that people who work those graveyard shifts have a higher risk factor for developing cancer just from working that shift. And the reason is because your circadian rhythms are off. It's not that they can go to sleep for 6-8 hours, but your circadian rhythms are off. Your body is designed with melatonin to go with the sun, up with the sun, go to bed with the darkness, right? So that is a really important thing. And then as we go on, I'll talk about Chinese medicine as we go through the slides.
Yes, perfect. Yes, thank you so much for adding your expertise. You know a lot more than we do, so we appreciate it. So then we're going to talk a little bit about like restorative, rejuvenative sleep. So our body's rejuvenation cycle, it is interesting. I don't know if any of you guys have ever worn a smartwatch. I know, Lisa, you mentioned that you wear the ring, right? That charts or calculates your sleep. But some people have gone through a sleep test or wear those rings or wear the smartwatch. And they've been monitored, you know, if you do a sleep test, they're monitored through the whole night. And, you know, we've done enough research, scientists have done enough research about how we go through different cycles throughout the night, different sleep cycles, to show that there are different parts of reparative sleep that have different phases. And so we move in and out of those phases throughout the night. And so the quality and length and stage of each sleep is really influenced by lifestyle and routine that you're living. So it's not even necessarily about whether you got a good night's sleep, but it's what were you doing that day? How was your stress levels? How was your activity? What did you eat for, you know, throughout the day? All of those have an impact on how well you get into that rejuvenative sleep cycle. So really your preparation, in other words, how you prepare your body through diet and nutrition and all these things, stress throughout the day really makes a huge difference or impacts the amount of rejuvenative or restorative sleep that you're going to have. And so the cool thing about sleep, like we mentioned before, is the impacts are immediate, right? You don't have to wait a year to see the results of a good night's sleep. You don't have to wait a couple months. It's like if you have a good night's sleep, you feel the effects immediately the next morning, right? And so unlike if you change your diet or if you start exercising, that's going to take a long time. But sleep is something that really you know the impacts immediately, and it's free. So you want to really take advantage of that. It's available to anybody, whether you're rich or poor, whether you are educated or not educated, it doesn't matter. Sleep is one of those things that can have the greatest impact on you that's totally free. And so really the higher quality sleep that you're getting, the higher quality your life is going to have, right? Because each day is affected by the night's sleep before. And so if you...
Up in there for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when we're thinking about sleep and that quality sleep,
Mm-hmm.
I think most people think about quality sleep as the amount of hours that you're sleeping, but just like you said, it's not just the amount of hours you're sleeping. I think of it as a triangle, and there's different points, and you could always turn that triangle. It doesn't matter which one's at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the amount of time that you're sleeping. It is getting into that restorative sleep. And the third one is the, um, uh, what do they call it? Uninterrupted sleep. Unfragmented is what they call it. Those are the three things that we think of for quality sleep. So unfragmented, meaning you're not waking up, restorative, and the amount of time that you're sleeping.
Yeah, so that's important. Yeah, because you can be in bed for 12 hours, but you may only get 4 hours of restorative sleep. You're going to wake up and think, man, I was in bed for 12 hours. How come I feel so tired? So it really is important to get yourself into that stage of restorative sleep. The next thing we're going to look at is just opportunities throughout the day, right? So we know there's opportunities throughout the day to create a good night's sleep. And as you'll hear a little as we go on, it starts with, what are you eating? What are you putting in your body? I don't believe that a good night's sleep, like I said, starts 15 minutes before you go to bed or even an hour before you go to bed. It really starts with what you've been doing throughout the day. You really need to start with when you wake up in the morning. So, for example, when we're talking about essential oils, diffusing essential oils that kind of give you energy starting out in the morning, or the grounding blend, which I'll introduce, which is one that kind of helps to set your system, your nervous system, to prepare for a day, because that's going to have an impact on how well you sleep that next night. And so from there, we really look at, movement and metabolism. Are you moving throughout the day? Are you finding ways to connect with people? Are you drinking lots of water or hydrating with good electrolytes? All of those are going to be key to how your day is and how your night is when you go to sleep. So opening the day in a proactive way, really, maybe taking some peppermint essential oil and rubbing it in your hands and breathing it in just to start your day, or rubbing it on your chest so you kind of get that energy. That's one way to kind of start using some of the essential oils. And managing stress components to your wellness pyramid, that really is important as well. And we've included natural cleaning because I'm sure most of you guys know on here what you're using to clean your home with, to clean your body with, to clean your hair with. All of these things have an impact on the stressors in your body. And so if you're constantly using toxic chemicals to clean things, to brush your teeth, that's going to put stress on your body, which is then in turn going to affect your sleep as well. And so you can see in this pyramid, we really like to start with the base, nutrition and digestion, and then move up from there so that you can have a good foundation in order to be able to get a good night's sleep. So this is where I want to start talking about essential oils in particular and introduce you to a few essential oils that can be really helpful for a restful sleep environment. I want to start with this research, the Roseman University Health Sciences, and I have the link to the study of this research. So they did a test. This is a college did a test with essential oils, and they wanted to test each essential oil to see what its therapeutic benefits were, if it helped with rejuvenating cells, if it helped with inflammation. And so they took some of the leading essential oils in the world, which included doTERRA, and they put them through different tests, unbeknownst to these companies that produce these oils. And so we were really, really pleased with the results. What they found was that doTERRA was the only essential oil that they found therapeutically relevant to cell growth and rejuvenation. This is referring to how the body responds to the oil. doTERRA was the only one that they found had an impact on metabolic health. And metabolic health is not just your metabolism. It has to do with your cellular health. It has to do with your BMI, your body mass index, your blood pressure, your overall health. And so doTERRA essential oils had a positive impact on these things. And they also found that doTERRA had a positive impact on the healthy inflammatory responses. So they found that things like frankincense essential oil, or our on guard essential oil actually had an impact on bringing down inflammation in the body. And so doTERRA oils were the only ones to be found to contain no traces of contaminants, no synthetics, no form of dilution whatsoever. And so the essential oils from the competitors had minimal effect, and the study really concluded that the therapeutic potential of essential oils really depends on the constituent of the oil. So you want an oil that's pure, that's unadulterated, that's not synthetic or diluted in any way, and that's what they found with doTERRA essential oils. And this is, I have a link to the study if anybody would like to have a copy of that. So the next one, I'm not really going to go into so much because we talked about doTERRA, and Dr. Sam, you kind of talked a little bit about your experience with it.
I think you changed the slide.
Yeah. So let's look at why essential oils work, why pure therapeutic grade essential oils work. So this is a very simple biology lesson. So you have these cells here, and we can see that outside of the cell we have the bacteria, and inside we have a virus. And we know that doctors, if you go into a doctor's office, a regular doctor's office, and you have a bacteria, they're going to treat it with an antibiotic typically. And the problem is, if you take that antibiotic, it's not only going to kill the bad bacteria that's causing the sickness or illness, but it's also going to kill off all of the good bacteria in your gut. And that is so important because we know that our immune system is really housed in the gut. And so if you're killing off all that good bacteria that's helping your immune system to be strong and healthy, then that means you'll be more susceptible to more illnesses and digestive issues and a lot of other issues that come up. But the cool thing about essential oils is that because they're oil-based, they can actually penetrate the membrane of a cell. And the reason why that's so amazing is because when you have a virus, for example, a cold virus or something like that, the doctor is going to tell you there's nothing we can do, go home, rest, let it run its course. Well, in reality, when you have essential oils like doTERRA essential oils that can actually penetrate the cell membrane, they've been proven through science to actually stop a virus from replicating, which is huge because then you feel empowered that there's something that you can actually do when you have a virus that's causing different kinds of illnesses. And so that's why essential oils work, because they can actually attack and target and enter the cell membrane. Okay, so now we're going to look at some strategies, some essential oils that can be really helpful with creating that peaceful, restful night's sleep. So I call this choose your adventure. So I'm going to lay out a couple of options because I think everybody, is like when you go get your oil change, there's good, there's better, and there's best, right? They always offer you the standard oil, the better oil, or the best oil. And so it's really what suits you and what fits into your lifestyle. And so that's how I want to lay this out as far as choosing your adventure and how you feel and what you really consider what would work for you. So let's look at some options here. So level one is a really good option. So what we could use, doTERRA Serenity Essential Oil. So that is our top oil for. It's part of the calming oils that have an effect on your nervous system. And Serenity Oil and the Serenity Stick, which has Serenity Oil as well as valerian in it, it's really going to improve your sleep quality. It helps you to regulate the health sleep stages that we talked about. It integrates the circadian rhythm that Dr. Sam was talking about that's so important, that really tells your body that it's time to stop, to rest, digestion to slow down, right? Your heartbeat to slow down, all those things. So it's going to help you get yourself back into restful sleep. And it's going to regulate your immune function because during the night, like Dr. Sam said, you're really rebooting your immune system. So a lot of you guys might think, I'm healthy, I don't really get the flu, or maybe generally you don't get sick. You still need to make sure that you're keeping your immune system strong so that you're not susceptible to these things. And so one or two terrible nights sleep can really suppress your immune system and make you more susceptible to whatever bacteria or viruses are around. And so Serenity essential oil is really a good option for creating that restful environment. And so I'll go into, here's a list of some other oils that are really good. Some people
Can we go back, Julie? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Can you tell us what's in the Serenity blend?
Yeah, so the Serenity, actually that's what this one is.
Okay.
Yeah. So aromatic is one way to use essential oils. It's a great way to use essential oils. Essentially, you put it in a diffuser, and there's a picture here of a diffuser, and you add water, and then you add about 3 or 4 drops of Serenity, and you just let it diffuse. And the reason why that works so well is because of your olfactory senses are connected to your limbic system, and that has a direct access to your nervous system. And so when your body smells something, like the Serenity, it helps actually to physically calm your body down. Just like you smell those chocolate chip cookies that Grandma used to bake, right? It kind of brings that sense of calm or joy or peace. That's the same effect that these essential oils can have. And so Serenity in particular has all of these oils in it. It has lavender, cedarwood, coriander, ylang ylang, marjoram, Roman chamomile, vetiver, sandalwood, tonka bean, and vanilla. So it's got a lot. And all of these oils have been scientifically shown to have a calming effect on your nervous system. And so this one's a really good one to use as an option for a good night's sleep. So this shows that topically you can, or aromatically you can use it. You can also use the Serenity stick topically. And what that essentially means is that you just take that Serenity stick, it's kind of like a deodorant stick, and you just rub it on your neck. You can rub it on your chest. You can rub it down your spine. You can rub it on your feet. Your feet are a great place to put essential oils because that is where your body can directly uptake into your nervous system as well. And so the Serenity Sleep Stick is a fabulous addition to using that oil as well. Okay, so that's level 1, right? So integrating the aromatic and topical approach, stacking them on top of each other. I like to keep all of these things on my nightstand, and I have a diffuser there. I have the Serenity stick, and I love to mix the Serenity with cedarwood as well. Cedarwood essential oil is a really good one to mix. It also has that calming effect on the nervous system. So that's just my own personal combo. And I love Serenity and cedarwood together because I feel like it creates a greater environment of restfulness. Putting it on your feet, like I said, is a great place to put it. So that's level 1. Level 2, sleep optimization really helps you to optimize your sleep. So I would definitely include the Serenity oil and stick. And if you think about it, everything we just talked about is really going to impact you if you actually start your system in the morning. And I mentioned that before, so having a morning routine is really what can make a difference with a good night's sleep. And then we're going to follow the 3-2-1 schedule for 3 hours before bedtime. So you're going to stop eating.
Can you change the slide?
Yeah, sorry. You're going to stop eating. There we go. Okay, so you're going to stop eating. Oh, here we go. Go back here. There we go. So 3 hours before bed, the reason that you want to do that is you don't want your digestive system to have to be actively digesting food as you're going to sleep through the night. I notice that anytime sometimes I might eat a late snack if I'm with family or friends or something, and I have a very restless night's sleep. And that's because my body is supposed to be shutting down my digestion so it can restore everything. But instead it's having to process through these foods. So it's important to stop eating 3 hours before bed. 2 hours before bed, limit your fluids. And that might be what you might want to do, Pam, is make sure that you're not drinking anything 2 hours before bed so that you're not going to be getting up to use the bathroom. And one person suggested only chamomile tea. That's something that also can help with the calming the nervous system. But personally, I try not to drink anything at least 2 hours before bed because I don't want to be woken up at 2 in the morning to have to use the bathroom. And then another important tip is 1 hour before bedtime, really limit all the bright blue light, which really wreaks havoc on your body. It kind of activates the brain and gets you active and alert. And so, as hard as it is, some people like to go to sleep with the TV on or like to watch something right before they go to bed. It's really important to try, if you can, to limit those kinds of lights before you go to bed. And one thing you can do also is, I know they sell blue light glasses that can be helpful, where you wear those, and if you're on the screen or watching TV, it helps to kind of filter that light coming in, so your brain's not saying, okay, it's time to be active.
Luna has them on, and here they are for me.
Yes. Yeah, I have mine as well. Yeah. So anytime I feel like I'm going to be on the computer for a long time, I put them on. Because even if it's the middle of the day, I get off the computer after 3 hours and I feel exhausted because of the exertion of my eyes.
You can
And then
also
again,
on your phone, at least on iPhone. I'm not sure about Androids, but there's a way to schedule so that the light becomes warm at a certain time on your phone, which blocks the blue light. And for those of you guys who are patients or past patients, in your concierge links, there's a link that says the NAP system. It's also an acronym. Y'all know I love acronyms. But basically, it kind of goes through this same thing. Say no to certain things, and then the amount and the appropriate time to sleep, and then planning your bedtime, and then positivity. So the plan part of it, the first P in the NAP system, really talks about having this routine, right? When you have kids, or when you were a kid, you had a bedtime routine. Trust me, you did. So as adults, especially if you're having insomnia or trouble getting to sleep, especially, having a planned bedtime routine, and this goes along with that. You stop eating, you stop the liquids, you limit all the blue light, but the other part of it that's in the NAP system, and it's mentioned in there, is that I always talk about having a diffuser in your bedroom. And that smell, I specifically really only want in your bedroom. And the reason why is that we have a muscle memory. She talked about the limbic system. And so I want that smell to be associated with the bedroom and nighttime routine and going to sleep only, right? So you could put the diffuser on a timer, or, when you're starting your bedtime routine, go put the diffuser on and close the door. You can do it as in your bath water. You can have a steamer in your shower if you don't want to put it on your actual body. I love the stick, because you could, at dinner time, you can already start preparing and have that stick on so that you're starting to smell it, but it's not in the rest of the house, right? So these are options, and we love to have options of different ways, because different people will be able to experience it different ways.
Exactly. Beautiful. Yeah. So I diffuse Serenity oil every night, and I only diffuse it in my room before I go to bed. And because when I smell that scent, I actually physically feel my body kind of relax and prepare itself to sleep. And that's not just, it's not becoming a crutch or like something I'm depending on. It's just the nervous system reacting to a familiar smell that couples with an activity that I'm about to do. So that's very good advice. Another really good essential oil for phase 2 is adaptive. Adaptive is our stress and anxiety essential oil, and a lot of people like to couple adaptive with serenity when they go to sleep. Adaptive is another really good one to have on hand throughout the day when you're stressed. It has some really good oils in it that have an effect or impact on just an anxiety response, and really calms your nervous system down. So that's another option for a sleep oil as well, to diffuse or again to put on topically. Something else
Does that one help stay asleep?
I would say, different people say. I went through a workshop a couple weeks ago, and the one woman said her husband swears by adaptive to sleep. Because
Yeah.
go ahead.
And I would say like adaptive is really good for those people that are anxious and they can't turn off their mind at night, because it's meant for like anxiety. So like I gear it more towards people that like are more anxious and like are thinking of a lot. So that's a really good one. Like my teenager uses that before bed every single night and she rolls it on. That's that more where I classify that one, but it's got like, I think it has vetiver in it, which vetiver is what I recommend for people that can't stay asleep at night. That's a great oil for that one. And that's also in the Serenity too. So vetiver is kind of like a sedative type oil.
Yeah, it's like a sedative for sure. Yeah. Something else that you can do along with this, coupling with diffusing those oils, can be journaling, right? That's a good way to kind of wind down your day, kind of writing out your thoughts, maybe writing out the things that you accomplished that day, the things that you're grateful for, just taking notice and mention of what went well that day, what you struggled with. Getting those out of your brain and onto paper can really have an impact on your nervous system and your body to calm you down and kind of be an outlet as well. So that's another tool that you can couple with diffusing these oils or using them topically. And so, like I said, morning routines are really where it all starts. In the morning, really the end of your day starts with your morning, is what I'm trying to say. So when you wake up at the same time each day, it's really important to be scheduled. I know it's tough, especially on Saturdays and Sundays, when the routine's a little bit off, but it is important. If you're struggling with sleep, it's important to be on a schedule. Get up at the same time every day, go to sleep at the same time every day. And I really found a dramatic difference in my life by following the same routine. Something else that's really important first thing in the morning is to get outside, and if you can, get your feet on the ground. Grounding is really a good way to kind of get your body ready for the day. It's something you can do really quickly and really easily. If you can't do that, like you wake up before the sun, or there's 5 inches of snow outside, like here in Michigan sometimes. One oil that you can use, you can see the picture here, is Balance Essential Oil on the bottom of your feet. These earthy kinds of oils have really the right chemical constituents to start the grounding process in you, even if you can't get outside. So definitely the first thing to do in the morning is wake up at the same time each day, balance oil on your feet, go outside, get the sunlight. Even if you're just out there for 10 minutes or so, get the sunlight because it helps to decrease the melatonin, increase the cortisol a little bit to kind of get your body going. And something else that you can do is take a walk, even for 15 minutes or so, first thing in the morning. It's really going to set your body up to start the day, which actually will impact your sleep later on.
And if you guys have been with me long enough, you know that I'm a super fan of grounding on the earth, but sometimes here in Michigan, we just can't do it, and that's why we have grounding mats, right?
Yes.
That you can put underneath your desk and just put your feet on them. I actually sleep on grounding sheets every single night. The only thing is you really need to be nude, so I don't get the benefits of it every single night. But I have grounding sheets on my bed and on the guest bed.
Yes, grounding is phenomenal. Definitely. I know in the summertime I have a big vegetable garden. As much as I can, I'm out there with no shoes on in the dirt. It just feels really good. So then level 3, we're almost finished up here. So we talked about level 2, the doTERRA Serenity oil and the sleep stick, the adaptive oil if your mind is just busy, following that 3-2-1 routine, syncing your body with the sun. So just some additional support. These oils listed below are other oils that can really have a good positive impact on your sleep. Adding sandalwood or vetiver to your Serenity, adding cedarwood, like I mentioned, to your face oil or lotion. Frankincense, we call the king of oils. When in doubt, frank it out. Frankincense under your tongue at night can also have a calming effect on your nervous system and help with that cellular repair throughout the night. Rolling clary calm on the inside of your ankles or your lower stomach can help ease digestive issues or kind of upset stomach. And also adding vetiver to your body butter or to your oils and massaging that into your shoulders or into your feet. Those are all great ways to apply these essential oils. And so let's talk a little bit about setting up a sanctuary. So a diffuser station is really important. Having things ready by your bed is really important, right? To get your brain re-stimulated when you're going to bed and you can't find the extension cord, or you forgot to grab the oil downstairs, you got to go downstairs and get it, or you didn't bring the water up for your diffuser. That can all get our bodies anxious and get our minds going in a time when we're really supposed to be slowing down and calming down. So I have next to my bed, I have my diffuser, it's plugged in, ready to go. I have a little basket with Serenity essential oil, Adaptive essential oil. I think I have lavender right there, and I usually keep a little jar of water right by my bed. And those are all ready to go for me to set up about 30 minutes before I go to bed. I turn on that diffuser to get the room kind of smell like it, and it's ready to go. It's one way to really calm yourself down and not get stirred up because things aren't together. So that's a good tip for sure. Okay, so this is something that's helpful. You may want to screenshot it. It's up to you or not, but these are just some diffuser blends that help with relaxation. You have a bedtime breeze blend, a sleep tight blend, sleepy time. This sweet sleepy time bath salt, something that you can do is you can add 1 drop of bergamot, 3 drops of lavender, 1 drop of wild orange or Roman chamomile, a teaspoon of jojoba oil, and put it in a glass spray bottle, and you can spray your pillow with it, or you can spray your room with it, and that's a nice way to kind of calm yourself down. You can also add all those same oils to a jar with Epsom salt, fragrance-free, don't buy the stuff with fragrances, or Himalayan salt and kosher salt, and pour it in a warm bath. And end your day with a warm bath that has oils in it that are going to really help your system to calm down. So these are some examples of different kinds of oils that you can use for those things. A couple other things. So I call these my triple whammy. If you've really got to focus on these 3 when it comes to bedtime: light, time, and temperature. Those are really, really important. So we talked about a little bit about light, getting 30 minutes of light in the morning between 6 and 9 when your body clock is most responsive. This really helps to regulate your melatonin production. At night, reducing your exposure to those things that we mentioned, the blue lights, the phone, the TV screen. Setting up a salt lamp on a timer, that can be really helpful to you, wearing the blue light glasses, or even wearing an eye mask. I actually started wearing an eye mask about a year ago because I was noticing my husband gets up for work at about 4:30 in the morning, and I was noticing just turning on the bathroom light was waking me up at a time when I didn't need to wake up. So I found that an eye mask is really helpful to help keep me in that sleep and not getting woken up. Temperature is absolutely key, you guys. So we know you really want your room to be between 64 and 68 degrees. Anything warmer, you're definitely going to wake up, throwing those covers off, especially if you're going through menopause where you have those hot flashes. Stress can also raise your body temperature. So taking, like using Adaptive or Serenity, that can be something that can really help to calm yourself down. So make sure that you're sleeping in a cool environment, because it's easier to cover yourself up with a blanket than it is to cool yourself down by taking the covers off, right? Okay, timing is very important as well. No caffeine between 12 and 2. I'd say that. I'm not sure what you say, Dr. Sam. I know it can be hard for some people. There's a lot of people that like to drink coffee into the afternoon. But caffeine can really impact your sleep. And so it's important to make sure that you figure out the way your body works, right? If you need to stop drinking caffeine at 2, then stop drinking caffeine at 2. Figure that out on your own. Really, it's also important to get to bed by 10 o'clock. I know that can be really hard for people as well. But between 10 and 2 is when you get your most beneficial hormone secretion and recovery. And so if you're going to sleep at midnight, well, now you only have 2 hours of that process going on, as opposed to 10 to 2. So it's important to get to sleep at 10 o'clock or close to it so that your body can fully get the recovery benefit.
So this is, for those of you who are patients or past patients, in the NAP system, in that concierge link, this is all in there for you. So the N is what she's going through, like the no caffeine, no blue lights, no this, that, and the other. So the N is the no's, like no, don't do this when you're trying to go to sleep. The A is the appropriate time to sleep and the amount of time, and 10 to 2 is what we've determined because that's when your body naturally makes melatonin. And melatonin is the master hormone of the immune system. It's the one that's going to wind you down and get you into the restorative sleep. And so if you're missing those crucial 4 hours, those are the 4 hours we really need, right? And the way that we've determined how much time you need to sleep, like I actually need 8.5 hours or so. And if you're actually sick, you need longer than your amount of time you need. So if you have 3 nights, so normally you have to do this on vacation, you need about 3 nights where you can say, okay, I think I'm going to bed now, and you know what time you went to bed. No one's going to wake you up. There is no alarm clock. Whatever time you wake up rested for 3 nights in a row, and then you average that. That's the amount of time your body needs to go to sleep. So we did the lights, we did the timing. What was the other one, Julie? The light and the sound. So
yeah.
The light, so the no part of it is really important because research has shown that lights, like even if you close your eyes, you can see the light, and light disturbs your sleep. Just like she said, even the bathroom light on. So sleep masks are great. You notice that they give them to you in high-end hotels. You notice that they give them to you on the plane, those type of things. So I actually have an eye mask that's made out of like silk, like you would do a silk pillow, so that you don't get wrinkles on your face, right? But that eye mask that I have also has cups that come off, and you can put cold cups on them and you can put hot cups on them depending upon what's going on. So sleep masks are awesome. The only thing I didn't hear you mention, Julie, was sound. So sound affects your sleep as well. So we know that if you're sleeping in like a busy town like New York, sounds can wake you up. So remember I talked about the pyramid and the quality sleep, right? So uninterrupted sleep is part of that, and that's the part that most people are missing. They're not sleeping all the way through, right, Pamela? So I know yours is getting up and going to the bathroom. Could it be that you're actually waking up from something else and then your body's like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom? So even if you've got a spouse or a partner that's sleeping next to you and they're snoring, you might not realize it, but they're interrupting your sleep. And so like my Aura Ring is on the charge right now. It can tell you how many times you wake up. And usually those times that you're waking up is interrupted by something. It's interrupted by you had to turn because you were uncomfortable. That's the mattress maybe. You were too hot or too cold. You heard something and you woke up, or you saw something. So it doesn't hurt to try earplugs, right? I have had several patients where I have suggested that they sleep in a different room from their spouse, and believe it or not, their sleep got better and their health got better. I know it is like taboo to think about it, but these like $1,000 mattresses are multiple money for mattresses, and these pillows, we spend half of our life asleep. That is a great investment. A great investment. Your bed, your mattress, your sheets, your pillow, those are great investments for you. And in the NAP system, I talk about that sanctuary. Your bedroom is only for sleep and sex. That is it. No working in there. Like you can read a book, but I don't want you reading it on your iPad. If you have a Kindle, you can read it there, but it is really for sleep and sex, and you have to train yourself that is it. And in feng shui, there's a certain way your bedroom is supposed to be. The foot of the bed is not supposed to be facing the door. You should not have a mirror in your bedroom. You should not have a TV in your bedroom, and you shouldn't really have any electronics. So I know we charge our phone, but my phone is like downstairs or across the bed across the room from me at this point. No alarm clocks by the head of your bed, and nothing underneath your bed. The Chinese medicine and feng shui says that when you have stuff under your bed, especially clutter, it comes up and it clutters your mind, right? And so just like Julie was talking about journaling and whatnot, that's in the part of the nap system, right? So it's busy brain. If you're jotting it down before you go to sleep, then when you hit the pillow, oftentimes we relive everything that we did during the day, right? And we're like, oh yeah, and I did that, and oh yeah, I did that, because you haven't had a time to process the day. The real busy brain then starts going, oh, I should have done that. What about tomorrow? Da, 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 da. So when we talk about the dose, DOSE, that's another, y'all, I love acronyms, y'all know it, DOSE, so dose of happiness hormones. Those happiness hormones, when we think about, I think it's serotonin or it might be oxytocin, I'm not really sure, but it's that level of feeling like you accomplished something. If you just make checklists, right, of all the things that you did that day and then simply check them off, even though you know you've already done them, make a checklist and then check it off. Is something psychological about that increases the neurotransmitters that say that, hey, I did that and I'm done for the day. Then, so that your brain's not thinking about all the stuff you have to do tomorrow, make a checklist of what you want to do the next day, right? Then when you open your bedroom, there is so much money spent on hotel psychology and resort psychology. When you walk into a hotel room, you automatically are like, there's a psychology to the colors, to the feel of the bedding that's on there, to the pillows, to the mattress, to the way it's laid out, the feng shui. Trust me, they've spent billions of dollars on the science and the research behind sleep quality, and that's why you feel like that when you're in a hotel. And sometimes that's why I'm like, you just need a staycation. I want you to go to a hotel. If I can't change your bedroom, then I want you to go to a hotel because they've spent the money doing it. If you notice now, like, I don't know if you guys remember, but I used to be a flight attendant, so I've been in millions of hotels. So you could go into one hotel and they had like the brown color, what is it called? Cover on the thing. Always white sheets, but they would have like a brown cover. I have not seen a brown cover in the last like 4 years or so. They're all white, and there's a reason for that. So it's because it's calming. So you don't have to have white, but definitely like seafoam green, pale yellow, pale pink, those colors, gray, that kind of stuff, like not red or, you know, the really dark colors and things like that. There's a psychology, and feng shui says that there's a psychology behind the colors as well. I'm sorry, got off on a tangent.
That's okay. No, that's all helpful. I mean, it's helping us figure out how to have a restful sleep environment, which is important for sure.
I have a question.
Yeah, go
regarding
ahead.
What about naps? At one point, they were saying a cat nap is good. You kind of rejuvenate, recharge. But what about, like a little, maybe an hour nap?
It depends. So if you are having insomnia, you have to schedule that nap earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So like my mom she has cancer. She's going through treatment. She can have a nap and still go to sleep during the nighttime. Mm-hmm. But she gets up super early in the morning. So I get the fact that she has a nap during the day. But if you're having insomnia and you're having a 2 and 3 hour nap, that doesn't work, because then you're not going to be able to sleep at night. So it depends upon what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the length of the nap is important too, right?
The length of the nap is important.
Yeah. Because then if you take a nap for 2 or 3 hours, then you're going to get into that deep sleep, right? And then you wake up and you're going to feel heavy and drowsy and untired. So you don't want your nap to be too long either.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just have a couple more slides and then we'll finish up. Here is a QR code if you want to scan. It's a picture. It's a QR code of a super sleep toolkit with a lot of what we talked about. Salt lamps, red light function on phone, setting it up, silk eye mask, blackout curtains. So feel free to take a picture of it or scan it, and you'll have access to that Super Sleep Toolkit. So let's
Go back. Did you guys get the
Did you
QR
guys
code?
get it?
Vicky and Vanessa, did y'all get it? Okay, good.
Yes, I think I did.
You said yes, Vicky?
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay. So this is the checklist, right? Your stress checklist. So what is it that you need to focus on? Sleep, we're talking about getting better sleep. Do you need to think about your schedule? Do you need to start working exercise into your day? Believe it or not, even if you work long hours, if you find a little bit of time to go for a walk or to get a little bit of exercise in where you're straining your muscles, you're using up some of that energy and the glucose in your body, that will actually help you to get a better night's sleep. Loneliness, think about, are you connecting with people? Are you finding time to call friends, to spend time with family? All of these things have an impact on your quality of sleep. Diet and gut health, spiritual life, self-talk. Are you finding that you're talking negatively about yourself? Are you finding that you just can't think of positive things about yourself? All of these things are going to have an impact on your sleep. And then obviously getting help if there's ever a time where you just feel like you need to reach out to somebody, then that's something that you can do as well. So here's an action item. If you'd like to in the chat, just share with us in the chat what checklist item that you feel like you need to work on the most. And that might be helpful for Dr. Sam as well. I know for me, definitely it's schedule. I feel like I'm so busy that I'm going. I find that 11 o'clock rolls around at night and I am exhausted. So I really want to work on getting that more established sleep time myself. So what are some people saying here? Can you see, Lisa?
Yeah, so exercise, Dr. Sam Price says, that helps that movement. Sometimes you're working too much, helping too many people, so you got to make sure you build that in, right? I want to feng shui my room, so I need to. I gotta get the sea foam bedding. That makes it sound like I don't have that right now.
My bedroom is sea foam and a brown accent wall. And when we moved in, I had a feng shui consultant come in.
That's awesome.
About the colors and certain places to put certain things. So
I like that. Yeah, I definitely.
So you already obviously prioritize sleep. That's wonderful. That's great.
Vanessa said diet and gut health, which, that's super important. If our gut's not feeling good, it's hard to sleep, right? And eating the right food and diet is really important. And then Imuna, that's what I saw the pronunciation guy up there. I'm a reading specialist, so I'm like, okay, that helped me. She just said sleep. So we were chatting that she wants to get going right now.
Okay.
Wait, but she wants to get going right now.
Okay, well, we'll definitely get into that. So,
and Pamela said she wants to figure out why she's waking up so much. So, she's going to make some changes possibly to see if that's
maybe item. Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So, in a few minutes we'll have you guys ask any questions that you might have. Here's a sample of some of the oils that we talked about that are really good for helping create a restful sleep environment. Diffusing them, putting them on topically. Essential oils really are amazing solutions that help you get a good night's sleep. And so I highly encourage you to implement them into your sleep routine. And it really helps to sleep. I found this quote that sleep is the single most effective thing we can do to reset our brain and our body health each day. So it's free, it's available to anyone, and so we need to take advantage of that, absolutely. If you'd like to get any of these oils or even diffusers that we talked about tonight, you can get a link from Dr. Sam. She has a link that you could order through, and with that link, you would get the wholesale cost of 25% off anything that you order. So you would definitely talk to Dr. Sam about that, or you can talk to us about it, and we can help Dr. Sam through that. Then I wanted to just present the last thing. doTERRA has essential oil kits that they put together. with a variety of essential oils for different purposes. We have the Family Essentials Kit, the Healthy Start Kit that comes with the diffuser. The Aroma Touch Kit is a really nice oil that has oils that are packed that has oils that are great for relaxation, for massage, for grounding. And then finally we have this last kit, which is the Home Essentials Kit. Sorry about that. Essentials Kit. And that one also comes with a diffuser. And you can see the oils that come with it. You can see some of the oils we talked about in that list. The reason these kits are really nice is because they make it more cost effective. It's cheaper to get all these oils together in a kit than it would be individually. But you can also order individual oils as well. So that concludes our workshop. If you guys have any questions, we'd be happy to help you and answer those for you.
Any questions, y'all?
Any questions? Sometimes they don't come up till later. You got to think through a lot the information you heard tonight.
We'd love to hear, like, was there a certain oil or one that sounded interesting to you, or just a certain thing that you want to try, even maybe not oil related, but you're going to try. We saw some people wanted to work on maybe moving into a different room for sleep. We'd love to hear just some things that you can put it in the chat that was interesting for you tonight that you think you want to try right away, or an oil that sounded interesting to you. See if anyone's typing anything out here. Or you can unmute yourself and chat.
Yeah, you can unmute
But it's a small group of us. You shouldn't use lavender. Oh, yeah, we've heard that a lot before. Maybe Dr. Sam can talk about that, but she shouldn't use lavender because of breast cancer.
Yeah. So, vetiver, Vanessa, would be the one for you.
Yeah.
So actually, Lisa and Julie gave me some documents about how that has been debunked about the lavender and breast cancer. And so I have it in a couple of different groups, and we're talking about it right now. I'm not there yet, but yeah, we're talking about it.
But there's other options, so that's
the
thing. You don't have to use lavender.
Yeah, that study, it's so interesting because that study just came out like, it was like one study and it just kind of like blew up, you know, and it was like, I think I based with mice or something. It wasn't even on a human study. And just, it just became like the word, you know, but it's not necessarily based on scientific research. But if you're uncomfortable with lavender, I mean, diffusing it is fine, you know, if you don't want to put it on topically, but there's so many other different oils that we recommended, like vetiver. I think vetiver, you know, would be a great one. Cedarwood is great. Shinrin Yoku, Serenity. There's so many great.
Lang. I like all of them. All the oils, most of the ones that they talked about are in your NAP system, and I specifically talk about them in the P for the plan part.
That's great, yeah. Yeah, and that's the great thing about essential oils is that one essential oil might work great for somebody, but there's always another one if something doesn't work well with you or you don't feel comfortable with using it. But there's so many options that really can be helpful. And the key is, like I always tell people, is number one is taking the step and starting to use it, and number two is the consistency. You won't see change unless you implement something and are consistent with it, and then you can really make that judgment if this is working well for you or not.
Yeah. Another thing that's really important is just the quality of the oil, and Julie spoke to that. And so our lavender is different than a lot of lavenders out there on the market. And there are scientific studies, and I posted one in here, of the epigenetics of the cells, and just using that Serenity system, how they took blood from people and saw the changing in their biological age. We are our age. We can't change our age, but we can actually change our biological clock. And we know sleeping better is going to help our biological clock. And the markers for just using the Serenity system change by using the Serenity oil, just diffusing it at night. So it was pretty cool. I linked that study as well.
Yeah.
I was trying to find my link. I can't find my link, so I'll have to find it for you guys later.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, your link for sharing the products, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can look through that.
Pam, did you have a question?
No, I don't have any.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you for this information. I knew about essential oils before, but not this in depth, and I've used them, and I absolutely love them all. When we had our house, we had a different scent in every room, and it was amazing. So when you walked in each room, even the kitchen, you got a different sense of what we were doing in the kitchen. And so that was totally a game changer. And so when we moved back to Georgia, and where we are now, having pulled back out our diffusers, and they're just literally like looking at me now. And I'm just like, I'm gone. I gotta get that. I gotta get that because I really do miss it. In my husband and I's bedroom, we used to have, what was it? It was like it starts with a Y. It's like Y. Yes. Oh my God. My husband will fall all over me, y'all. Like,
that's an aphrodisiac.
It is aphrodisiac.
Like, he will walk in the room and be like, babe, like, oh my babe, wait.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that one for couples.
Yeah, it definitely is an aphrodisiac. For sure.
Love it. So yeah, I really want to put up. I wanted to stop to put them out once we're looking for our other home, and we'll be moving within the next month. But I was going to try to wait until then. But after this class, I'm like, no, I gotta get that stuff going out because I really miss it, and I didn't realize how much I missed it until this class. So I just want to say thank you so much for this because it was amazing information, and it just puts me back into perspective of how your environment really matters about your healing. Like I deal with the digestive, the health portion of it, but like this is wellness, and so it's all around excellence, and how your body reacts to different things. So environment is key. So thank y'all. This was really good.
Everybody says I'm over the top, but I travel with a diffuser.
I do too.
I have little travel diffusers, and so I go to right now. Like I love lemongrass. So, and like when my mom has to go to the hospital, even when she's going for treatment. And this is in that system that I told y'all, like 7 things to take to the chemo chair. I have a travel diffuser in the hospital, and we shut the door, and I diffuse lemongrass, or I'll diffuse, like for doTERRA, it's called On Guard. It's to keep the germs and stuff away. And so when the nurses walk in, sometimes they just hang out in our room because it smells so good. And even when I gave birth, I had a diffuser on in the room when I was giving birth, because that is how passionate I am about certain smells. Yeah. And certain smells kind of trigger reactions of memories and things like that. So I think that oils are a very subtle, gentle, non-invasive way of doing healing, right? So,
well put.
Vanessa, did you have a question or a comment? I see you looking for it.
I did not. Thank you.
No worries. Vicki, are you good? Are you complete?
It was very informative, and it reminds me that I need to get back on track of a lot of things. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, thank you, Julie and Lisa. We really appreciate this. Our next class is going to be on digestion, oils and digestion.
Yep.
So we are looking forward to that. I'll talk to Lisa and Julie, get it on the calendar, and we'll let you guys know. The third class is on hydration and how we use oils with hydration. So we're following VITAL. The fourth class is on mental health. So relaxation, stress, calming. So a lot of the same ones here, but really delving into the mental health aspect of it. And then the last one is going to be on lymphatic flow. And so while we can do lymphatic massages and things like that, when I sold essential oils before, my big thing with essential oils is putting them into amber bottles with water or vinegar and making cleaning solutions. So instead of Windex and Fabuloso, which is like the worst thing you could possibly have in your house, what are the cleaning product that you can make from, you've already got this set of oils, but what else can you do with them, right? So you can make all kinds of cleaning products. So detoxing is really important. So remember how I believe in daily detoxing, not the dumps. And a daily detoxing is, what are we putting on our body, in our body? What are we looking at, and what are we hearing? But then there's also, what are we cleaning with, right? So, I'm looking forward to the series. I thank you so much, Lisa and Julie. And thank you guys for showing up and being in person. I'll send you guys out the recording as soon as we edit.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having us. It's really our passion to share this information with people.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys.
Sweet dreams, everybody.
Yes, we do. Bye.